Hello. So this is a video between Esperanto as Protoss at the right side and TheScourge on the bottom as blue. Now this was a replay sent to me by a viewer, and if any of the viewers want to send me a replay, I'll be happy to commentate on it and put it up on YouTube. I'm just glad to get support from the viewers. So this was sent to me by one of the two players here. I'm not going to say which one, because that'll probably give away who wins, as if you're going to send me a replay, you're probably going to send me where you win. Anyhow, so I'll just be glad to get any replays from any of you guys, and I'll be happy to put them up on YouTube, pretty much regardless of skill level, just as long as it's not really, really low level. If you think it's interesting, I'll watch it, and I'll talk about it and put it up on YouTube, and I hope that you will enjoy this game between Esperanto and TheScourge in a Protoss versus Protoss. And I had a friend watch it, and he said it was interesting. I have not watched it yet, so I am just as in the dark about what is going on as you. So now we have TheScourge sending out his scouting probe and his gateway being built back in his base, as it looks like Esperanto is about to get his own gateway up. Oh, except TheScourge here is being able to cancel Esperanto's gateway by sitting on where his gateway was trying to be placed down. So that's delaying Esperanto's gateway and perhaps forcing him to just sit on a excess of minerals for a little while before he manages to get his gateway down. So that was a good play by TheScourge, just delaying Esperanto by a bit. So now just when Esperanto's gateway's down, TheScourge is already more than half done. So that was, I think, a pretty good move. And Chrono Boost is being used on TheScourge's Nexus, which means he's trying to get out probes faster, which is a good strategy, but that also just signals that there's not going to be a rush with Zealots from the gateways. Esperanto, I believe, yeah, Esperanto did not scout out, so he still does not know which corner of Lost Temple that TheScourge is at. And TheScourge now actually still using that Chrono Boost on the gateway, but he's blocking off his front ramp from any of Esperanto's attack. And so that's a strategy I don't usually do, but it is viable. Have two gateways or a gateway and a forge to completely block off your ramp, like most Terrans might do. And he's getting a proxy pylon, which means we'll probably soon be seeing a forge to get cannons to block in right here with cannons to prevent Esperanto from actually even moving out of his base, and perhaps soon a cybernetics core to get any warp-ins. And though Esperanto does see this, but only has a single gateway and another being warped in. And going double gas, I don't know what that means. We could be seeing Forge as well get cannons. We could be seeing some sort of tech here, but I'm not quite sure what is going to happen. As simply, TheScourge is pushing out with more and more Zealots, using that Chrono Boost, trying to build up the larger army to secure this front ground, as the cannons are now being placed. There's a little engagement here. The probe is soaking up some of that damage, doing a good kiting, except for the fact that his own Zealots aren't getting any hits. And the cannon will be up, giving a massive advantage to TheScourge, and once again pushing back Esperanto. He's still just trying to get an army. There's a good amount of, yeah, I think they're both... No gas, though. No gas still with TheScourge. So Scourge is going purely Zealot Rush with cannons, while we have a double gas up here, and we will be seeing something interesting soon, I do hope, from these two gas. Yeah, there's a cyber core, so we will see. Oh, not quite yet. We'll see what's going to happen, as he's getting his third gateway so he can protect his base from all of these Zealots. We will see how he goes, using his oh, here's engagement right in the front. Esperanto did a good job of trying to block off, so only two of TheScourge's Zealots can actually do damage. TheScourge is now trying to hit this pylon, which will destroy the gateway, but now we have Esperanto Zealots coming from behind, 3 versus 4, as more are being warped in from the south, actually, and TheScourge has completely walled off this front, and now even getting the cyber core out in the middle and 2 more gateways. So the Scourge will be running off of 4 gates compared to Esperanto's 3 gateways up top. Reinforcing with a couple of photon cannons, but if he does not do something with that gas that he's gathering, I think Esperanto will lose this game. Finally, the Scourge is getting his dual assimilators, perhaps to begin researching Warp Gate or to get higher tech, but we will see. Now, Esperanto really with the advantage here. The Scourge can't push forward, so it's still just going to be back and forth to see who can push forward. Income-wise, we see that Esperanto has so many more harvesters gathering from his main base than the Scourge does, which is, well, I do think he's sort of not in the best place right now. With this increased income, he definitely has some sort of advantage. While the Scourge is still building photon cannon upon photon cannon outside of Esperanto's base. And there we go, Esperanto just taking advantage of what he can do right now with his economy, trying to get a second nexus up at his expansion, transferring eventually a lot of those probes, and just pumping out more and more army units to try and counteract this aggressive cannon push by the Scourge. Now, finally, taking advantage of that 700 Vespene gas that he gathered up by getting some stalkers and some sentries, as well as researching shields level 1, which is, I'm not sure if that's necessarily the best research to go for right away, but it is obviously still something that will give him an edge in combat. Warp Gate research being trained just by the Scourge. Oh, and the Scourge is going for something very interesting here, building his nexus not at the most optimal location, but still trying to go for these rich mineral fields. Probably should have destroyed these destructible rocks first, but this is still sort of a ballsy move to give him more minerals over Esperanto. As right now, as you can see on the income pane, Esperanto does have the income advantage. But army-wise, they're pretty even, although Esperanto is trapped in his base with all these cannons blocking off his front door. And now we have a Twilight Council. No upgrades being researched yet, but perhaps we will see more interesting tech coming out in the future. So yeah, this Nexus is now down, and we will see he's going to gather, so getting up all his probes, and he's going to gather from a slightly increased distance than it would have been if he just destroyed these rocks. I'm not sure if that's the best decision, but we will see if that pays out for him. As now he finally got his Warp Gate research, and now has 6 Warp Gates, compared to Esperanto's 4 gateways. More cannons coming in to reinforce the front as